Did you know that when J.K. Rowling was writing this book, she actually considered killing off Ron? There's your fun fact for the day. Can you imagine? Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So, year 5 at Hogwarts is honestly one of my favorites of the entire series. Coming fresh off of witnessing Voldemort's return last year, Harry Potter's life just sucks. He's dealing with all sorts of crap now, like Voldemort sending Dementors after him where he lives. The Ministry of Magic, which is pretty much like the wizard government, they're getting all up in his face about it because they're trying to cover up the fact that Voldemort has actually returned. Some people are just flat out refusing to believe him because Harry was really the only one who saw it. The Minister of Magic, Cornelius Fudge, has pretty much been twisted and warped by fear, as Lupin put it. He's pretty much trying to prevent mass panic, so he's saying, yeah, Harry Potter's just a little crazy. He's coming up with this shit. He thinks Harry and Dumbledore are conspiring with each other because, for some odd reason, I guess he thinks that Dumbledore's after his job. And so the Ministry assigns the newest Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher to Hogwarts. This is the worst one of them all. Dolores Jane Umbridge, played by Imelda Staunton. Oh my god, she does such a great job in this role because I love to hate this character. I can't stand her. She drives me crazy. She's that really stern, uppity old bitch with a stick up her ass. You take one look at her and you're like, yeah, she gets pleasure out of punishing children. And as if her behavior wasn't enough, she's turned Hogwarts pretty much into a hellhole. She's treating all the students like babies, pretty much not letting them use defensive spells in the Defense Against the Dark Arts class. She's pretty much turning a big magic school into pretty much what school is for us. Sitting in your desk, taking notes. Not to mention that squeak chuckle she has that really gets on my nerves. Which means all sorts of props to Imelda Staunton. She's awesome in this movie. And she's not the only new character this time around. We actually have a new character on the good guys team who's one of my favorites in the entire series. Luna Lovegood, played by Ivana Lynch, who beat out, 1,000 other girls in the audition? I love Luna Lovegood because she's weird. She's not antisocial or anything, but she's just a little different. She's the kind of girl that I would really be sympathetic with if I went to Hogwarts. Like, I'd want to be her best friend or something like that. Because she gets picked on, you know, because she's a little weird, but so am I. I think we get along pretty well. And there's one more new character I gotta talk about. Not only do we have the worst Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher of them all, and not only do we have a great new student for the good guys, but we have my favorite villain of the entire series being introduced in this movie. You know who it is. Bellatrix Lestrange, played by Helena Bonham Carter. I love her. Bellatrix is Voldemort's pretty much right-hand woman. She's out of her mind. I compare her all the time to Harley Quinn because it's pretty similar, her being the main villain's right-hand woman, and she's just nuts. This is probably my favorite role that Helena Bonham Carter has ever played because this is like the epitome of everything she's done. And she really shines in this movie too. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, so I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. Since Umbridge has pretty much taken over Hogwarts and not letting students use defensive spells and practice all that, Harry Potter pretty much takes it upon himself after being convinced by his friends to take his group of friends and pretty much train them himself. He's gonna teach them how to use these spells for the big war that's coming, and thus Dumbledore's army is formed. And it's great that montage we get in the middle of the film pretty much where they're practicing. It is pretty much a training montage. I love how it starts out with Neville who can't get Expelliarmus right, which is pretty much the disarming spell, and as the montage goes on he gets a little better at it, and at the very end he gets it right and everyone's like, oh my god, you did it, and that's where it ends. That's great filmmaking right there. And the romance continues. Okay, Harry and Cho Chang. She's not really completely over Cedric who died, you know that. But she and Harry are really getting along and they kiss, and it's actually a pretty good scene. It's solid right there. I gotta give a lot of props to that scene. The unfortunate thing is that that romance really wouldn't last that long because she actually ended up ratting them out. You know, Dumbledore's army was practicing in secret in the Room of Requirement, but they were actually ratted out by Cho Chang to Umbridge because she's a bitch. So that ends that relationship. Jumping over to something else that's making Harry's life a living hell, he's having these visions that are pretty much connecting his mind to Voldemort's. And so to help him out, Severus Snape says, okay, I'm gonna try to teach you to control your mind so you won't be so vulnerable to it. I love how he puts it. In these lessons, I will attempt to penetrate your mind. You will attempt to resist. Whenever I watch this movie, I always say that line along with him because just the way he says it, I love it. And yeah, this is the film where Snape really comes back into play again. He's kind of been in the background for like the first few films, but now Alan Rickman really starts to shine as Severus Snape, and you definitely see it in this film. And you actually start to see a little bit of his past and why he's such a bitter person, which I'm not going to spoil for you. Haha. So now let's jump to the end. The kids go to the Ministry of Magic because Harry got a vision that, Voldemort's torturing Sirius over there. We gotta go help him. If only they had Admiral Akbar there to let Harry know. It's a trap! They're ambushed by Death Eaters and we have another throwdown. And it's exciting because now it's not just Harry versus someone, it's a bunch of kids. We got Harry, Ron, Hermione, Ginny, Luna, Neville, and they're all throwing down with these Death Eaters, these adults who are using dark magic. They're flying around, Bellatrix and Lucius Malfoy. One of my favorite scenes of this entire movie though is when the Order shows up to help them out. First thing you see is Sirius go up to Lucius, he's like, get away from my godson, and he just punches him right in the jaw. I love that. That is just old school, man. That is being a badass. Yeah, I could use any magic spell I want, but nah, I'm just gonna sock you across the face. Oh yeah, by the way, the Order of the Phoenix itself, it's pretty much a secret society of all the adults that are good guys. Remus Lupin, Sirius Black, the real Mad-Eye Moody, and a couple of other new characters, Kingsley Shacklebolt and Nymphadora Tonks. They're all here to help out, and it's another sweet fight. And as if that's not enough, Voldemort shows up at the very end, and we have a throwdown with him versus Dumbledore. If you want to talk about some sweet visual effects, watch that fight. It's sweet. This film really stepped up the story in a really dark way. That's what I love about it. This film really makes you look back at the older ones, and they're so light compared to this one. And the reason I think this is so masterfully done is because that's how life is. Yeah, when you're a kid, everything's all fine and dandy, but then as you get older, you realize, oh my god, yeah, life is not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. It actually gets pretty dark. The Harry Potter series illustrates that, I think, better than any other series has ever done. And this is the first film that really shows that. The score for this film was done by Nicholas Hooper, and he introduced some really cool new themes. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is where all the kids are taking that test, and then the Weasley twins, Fred and George, come out of nowhere and they just, woo, they do fireworks. The music that plays during that scene, it's just one of my favorite themes in the entire series. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is definitely one of my favorite movies of the entire series, and it always will be. So, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Have you seen it? Have you watched it recently? How does it rank among all the Harry Potter movies for you? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.